Hey, what's going on, Keem Affiliation Squad? I just got a chance to see the Thor Ragnarok movie, and I have to say, honestly, this is crazy. This is crazy. But that movie was freaking amazing. I mean, just amazing. Like, how can it get any better than that with words explaining how great that movie was? Like, from start to finish, that movie was just amazing. Like, and it's a Marvel movie. You guys know, if you don't know by now, like, I'm a huge DC fan, but this was an excellent movie, and it's a Marvel movie. Like, Thor Ragnarok was great. Like, it was an amazing movie. It was great. I mean, if I had to score it between 1 and 10, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. You know, no lower than an 8.5 out of 10. You know, and I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions if you think it's lower or higher, but with me, you know, just explaining how I feel about the movie, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. I mean, that's just me. Like, the movie is just freaking amazing. Like, I can't believe that I'm really praising this movie like that, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's a good movie. What can I say? It's a great movie. And I mean, I'm gonna try my best not to put like too many spoilers in here, but I mean, just spoiler alert and spoiler warning, I will be discussing some things in the movie that happened, just in case you haven't seen it yet. And you know, I don't want to spoil too much for you guys, but yeah, so just diving on in it, what the movie is. I mean, like, just to start off, we start off with, you know, the beginning of the movie with Thor, and his, you know, still has his long blonde hair, you know what I'm saying, and he's like all tied up and chained up in this like this little apocalyptic like cave or something like that, you know what I'm saying. And then he's all chained up and he's wrapped up in a chain. He falls down, if you haven't seen that in the trailers, but yeah, he falls down, and you know, the person he's talking to is Surtur. Basically the start of Ragnarok, if you want to call it that. The beast, the evil demon looking beast Surtur, you know, he's like rocks and lava and got the devil horns. He kind of looks like the devil. He's got like the devil horns sticking out his head and stuff like that. And you know, kind of find out if you know, later on it's said in the movie that the horns, like the little Thor called it a tiara on his head. He called it a tiara. So he said, basically saying, they get the villain, the main villain, which I'll get to that in a second, but the main villain said if it's like united with the eternal flames, that's when the start of Ragnarok and stuff like that, and you know, stuff. So it was just crazy. That's just the beginning of the movie. And one of the Asgardian warriors actually, you know, pretty much, you know, skipping forward ahead a little bit, you know, one of the Asgardian warriors pretty much teleports Thor back to Asgard after he's finished taking care of his business there. So I mean, it is just insane. That movie was insane. That's just the beginning of it. And pretty much when Thor gets back to Asgard, he pretty much finds his brother Loki portraying his father Odin. He's sitting there pretending to be Odin, and he's sitting there in the you know, like a little chair, pretty much watching a play he's set up, making himself look great and making Thor look like he was just praising him in the movie, which is hilarious. That was just hilarious. So, you know, even skipping them forward a little bit, even further ahead, you see that Thor is trying to pretty much find out what is pretty much going on in the cosmos, you know, and Loki and Thor sets on a quest back to Earth to find Odin, because, you know, like I just said, Loki was just pretending to be Odin. So in that case, where is Odin? So he's on Earth, and they get to Earth. Of course, they set a quest back out to Earth, and they find Odin because they actually had a run-in with Dr.Strange, and Dr.Strange just pretty much just takes Loki and just through a portal and just drops him. And then you just like, wait, what just happened to Loki? You know, he's just sitting on the corner and in the middle of New York somewhere, and he just drops him through a portal. He's like, "Where's Loki?" Then Thor ends up going through like a portal of a sort, something like that, and then you're just like, okay, this is kind of strange. But as soon as I saw the portals, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's definitely Dr. Stephen Strange. I mean, like, look at the portals. I mean, you could tell, like, if you haven't seen if you've seen the Doctor Strange movie, you would know that those portals look familiar. But anyway, continuing on, pretty much Doctor Strange is he's basically just kind of worried about, like, why are you here, Thor? Like, you brought Loki with you. Out of all people, you got Loki here back on Earth. I mean, he's pretty much just worried, like, why are you here? And he's just like, well, I'm looking for my father. Like, basically, like, I'm looking for my dad. He's here. I mean, can't leave without him. He's got to go back to Asgard and protect Asgard from Ragnarok happening, right? Like, I mean, what is he supposed to say? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just leave my dad here and just let Asgard just pretty much burn to ash? Like, okay, like, right. So he tells him that he's like in Doctor Strange gives him the locations of Odin, and so, skipping forward a little bit, Thor and Loki pretty much goes and finds Odin just staring out into the ocean, like just staring out there, just gazing, just saying, oh, hey, how beautiful, look boys, my sons, this is beautiful, stuff like that. So that was, just a little father and his sons pretty much bonding moment. And then shortly after, Odin just vanishes into like pixie dust, and well, he's dead now at this point. So that was a little weird, but it was a good moment for Thor because it showed some growth and some maturity in his character. And Loki pretty much is the same. Yeah, pretty much just turning his back on his brother every single chance he get. Great job, Loki. We know. The same OG since the very first time we saw you in the first Thor movie. But yeah, moving on. So it was just freaking insane just to see that, because, come to find out that this being that Odin has been trying to protect Asgard from come to find out that it's Loki's and Thor's sister, the actual firstborn of Odin himself. Like, Thor all this time, all these years, and ever since he's been alive, has always thought that he was the rightful heir to the throne and the firstborn son of Odin. Come to find out that he has an older sister that was born before him from Odin, and come to find out that she's the actual heir of the throne to the throne. And that's just weird because now the questions pretty much what is Thor's purpose, like what is he around for, and he has to kind of like deal with that struggle and that battle with himself, like kind of like, okay, well, I've been lied to, so where do I go from here? But one cool element about this movie and the character Thor is the fact that he pretty much like never loses like that. He finds that heroism inside himself. Not saying that he hasn't already before, but you just see like a true like hero inside of him through this whole movie. Like, it was just like he felt like he just cared about a lot more than just himself. Like, it was so much on the line and just so much at stake that it was just, to me, it was just cool to see with the character. And it was definitely a lot of growth from the first time we've seen Thor in the actual live action movie. So to me, that was just real cool. And long story short, moving forward a little bit more, Hela pops out as soon as Odin dies, pretty much out of just like nowhere, just pretty much like a portal. But yeah, it was not necessarily nowhere, but Odin had locked her up a long time before. She used to go on missions with him back in the past and things like that. So she pretty much comes out of the place where she was locked up in, and Odin's death is the only way she could have gotten out. So when he died, she was let free. So now she's confronted by Loki and Thor, and they pretty much get their asses kicked, pretty much. Like, they get just smacked around pretty much. Like, it was no stopping her at that point. And at that moment is where you see Thor trying to throw the hammer at her, and she breaks his hammer with just no effort, pretty much. and Thor and Loki try to, Loki tries to summon them back to Asgard, and she follows through the portal, and she winds up knocking them off course through the portal to a different world on a different planet. Both of them got knocked to the same planet. That's that junkyard planet, and she continues through the portal straight to Asgard, pretty much. So again, spoiler warning if you didn't notice by now, but spoiler warning, I'm gonna keep going though. So that happens, Thor is captured. Loki knows those people on that planet. He's cool with the Grand Master, who's also related to the Collector on Guardians of the Galaxy. But Thor doesn't know these people, but Loki does. And Thor is pretty much captured and, taken in as a warrior to fight in the Contest of Champions arena thing. And, you see the statues and all that, pretty much showing you all the previous warriors that fought in the Contest of Champions before. Beta Ray Bill was one of those people. But then, it's a mystery opponent that Thor has, and then come to find out that it's the Hulk, and he's happy to see the Hulk, but the Hulk pretty much doesn't recognize, nor is he really interested in what the heck Thor is talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so Hulk pretty much gives Thor problems, and then next thing you know, like Thor, through this very unique moment, he just summons like this mystery power that he has, with him glowing, his eyes glowing up, and electricity flowing around him, and then he pretty much gives Hulk a run for his money. And come to find out that they fight for a little while. Thor gets a couple good hits in, Hulk gets some good hits in, and funny moment is where Thor actually gets slammed around like how Loki did from the first Avengers. That was actually pretty funny, because Loki's like, yeah, that's how that feels, like, in the movie. So that was pretty funny too. And so moving on, come to find out, little slow down, the movie slows down a little bit, and you get some interaction between Hulk and Thor and Bruce Banner and Thor. Come to find out that Bruce Banner has actually been the Hulk for 2 years straight since he left in the second Avengers movie. So it's very important to factor in, because that means that he's had a hard time with transforming back into the Bruce Banner, version of himself. But yet and still, has learned to be more, more one with the Hulk, pretty much. So that's very important to factor in too as well, because if you think about it, he's always struggled with, having some control over the Hulk, and he still doesn't have complete control, but you can definitely tell there has been growth and effort in the character's control over the Hulk. So, moving forward, Thor starts to put together a team, and there's just a bad character in the movies, and I mean bad in a good way, meaning, I forget her name, but it's the girl that pretty much captured, Thor in the movie. So, I mean, she's just badass in that movie, man. Like, she was just crazy. Like, she was giving Loki them hands, she's giving Thor them hands, and she was real cool with the Hulk. So, you can just imagine what I mean by how badass she was. So, yeah, even moving on, like I said, Thor, puts together a team, and he's like, they're like, well, okay, what do we call ourselves? He's like, well, the Revengers. Well, like, they're like, well, we don't have to be called anything at all, and, that's just another funny moment in the movie. So, just moving on forward, pretty much, they all go back to Asgard, and one of Thor's old allies from the previous Thor movies, and he's even popped up in the second Avengers movie as well. It was just great, like, just like the connections, the message of the movie, the heroism in the movie, the growth in the movie. It was just like great. Like, it was near perfect. Not necessarily perfect, but it was just near perfect, which is still good, either way, right? Like, and come to find out, again, the girl that captured Thor was one of the old Valkyries that actually ran into Hela, had a run-in with Hela back before, and come to find out that she had killed a lot of her friends and stuff like that, pretty much. And so that was like a personal thing for the girl who captured Thor. And that's what I'm just going to call her in the video, the girl who captured Thor. I don't know her name. If I can find her name, I'll probably post it in the comment section or something like that. But if not, then you guys just let me know in the comment section what her name is in the movie. I just forgot her character's name in the movie. Not familiar with her character as much, but yeah. So just a lot of selfless acts. But even with Loki, has throughout the movie have tried to turn on Thor a couple times, but never succeeded. Thor is pretty much used to all his tricks now. But a lot of selfless acts even with him. He saved the day. He's came back, and even after he tried to turn his back on Thor before they got back to Asgard to fight Hela for the final time, he even came back again to help Thor. So there's a lot of saving within the character of Loki. Like, he can redeem himself. He's redeemable, even though he's gonna still do what Loki does best, and that's betray Thor. Still to this day. Like, I mean, it's just never gonna change. But he can still redeem himself, and so after all of the saving and that and stuff like that, and it was a character too that turned on, not necessarily turned, I guess he was just scared, pretty much working for Hela. And I mean, he turned back good, I guess, at the end of the movie, which was kind of like, okay, but he still died. So I know I'm not gonna really go into too much detail with that because the video is already long enough. But yeah, so just saying, Thor, basically, has like a little dream sequence with it, like seeing his father again. His father, he's like, yeah, without my hammer, I can't beat her. I can't beat her without my hammer. He's like, well, you're not the god of hammers, are you? They're like, no, he's the god of thunder. So I mean, without the hammer, he said, hey, you're stronger than me. Even without the hammer, you're stronger than me, man. You're not the god of hammers. You're the god of thunder. So, and that just pretty much awakens like a true power within him. And, that just shows like, and another thing that this movie does justice is showing how powerful Thor really is without his hammer. Like, that was great too. Like, a lot of people like, what I'm saying, discredits, Thor for how strong he really is, even without the hammer. He's up there. What I'm saying? He's up there. Even without the hammer, he still got Odin Force and stuff like that. So that's very important to factor in because he was able to pretty much give Hela a lot more problems than, anybody else has. So, but even with all of that power, he still couldn't necessarily beat Hela by himself. So that just to show you how powerful Hela was. Like, Thor's already that strong, to give her a run for her money, but still wasn't able to beat her by himself. So the key was, they said, was to not prevent Ragnarok, but it was to actually cause Ragnarok. And Ragnarok, the Surtur demon, turns giant when Loki puts the tiara, they call it the tiara helmet that Thor called it, the horns inside the eternal flame, and he turns into that big giant devil looking demon, and pretty much just destroys Hela, and that's how she's pretty much taken out of this equation. And so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then the Hulk is reunited with Thor and Loki and the other girl that helped them. They were pretty much all together. And so now that Odin is dead, now that Thor is the king now. So Thor is the king now. So that's very important to factor in because this is the third movie of his trilogy, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see how much longer Chris Hemsworth stays as Thor. I don't know, he's probably more than likely he's going to be Thor for a while longer because he just became the king, so you're going to have to see that for a little while at least before anything happens to his character. And I'm pretty sure eventually in the movies they're going to bring in the female Thor. And if you guys don't know what a female Thor is, she's pretty much Jane. The character was in the movies too, and but one thing I do hope about, I know they're gonna bring in, I don't know, but everybody can pretty much speculate that they're gonna bring in a female Thor eventually. That's only right. And if they do, I just hope they give her another name other than Thor. Like, I think her character is pretty cool, but I would just like to see her get her own superhero name. Like, I don't want to see her named after Thor. Hopefully she gets her own name. So yeah, if you tune into this video, please comment down below what you think about this review and what you think about the movie as a whole. And once again, dropping more videos, and just stay tuned for more videos and stuff like that. And give this video a thumbs up, and also share and subscribe to the channel. And so once again, before I go, I just want to say that I do give the movie myself, I gave it a solid 9 out of 10, no lower than an 8.5. If anybody just downright just bashes this movie, they gotta be just hating on the movie or hating on Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not a big Marvel fan. I prefer DC over Marvel. I'm a huge DC fan. Staying tuned for Justice League, and I see a lot more clips of Justice League, pretty much getting released on the internet, and it's just like, man, I just can't wait for this movie. But once again, I think the movie is just a good solid 9. Only thing about the movie is the fact that the jokes, and it's a Marvel movie, so you're gonna get that in the movie. Just the jokes in it, like, was just like, come on, can't you with these cheesy jokes, like, too much. Sometimes I just feel like Thor has been a little bit too funny for his character, but then again, it does make the movie a little bit more exciting. So again, comment down below, tell me what you think about this, and the review, and the movie, of course. And once again, I am Keem Stream, and always remember to keep streaming.